Hello, welcome back to episode 8 of Project Eunoia. I have a very special guest with me today, and I think with this topic, it's really awesome that I got to have her here today. So I have Feeha here.
Hi there. Super excited to be on this platform.
Aw. Here's the thing. We're going to be talking about depression and anxiety. And I think I did bring it up a lot in the recent episodes. But today we're just really going to go really in depth about it. I feel like there's so much experience and there's so much we can say and we can do better in talking about this, because there's such a stigma behind both of them, I believe. And being as someone who has experienced a lot of it, and Feeha as well, and that's why I have her here with me, it's going to be just, I think, a relieving thing to have to finally just talk about. And I hope this definitely helps some of you guys out there too. So let's talk about depression. How do you feel about depression? Tell me what your thoughts about it are.
I think there's many faces to depression, to be honest. I think there's external and internal factors. But I think a lot of underlying symptoms towards depression overlap. You know, frustration, sadness, thoughts of suicide or death, you know, disturbances in sleep or appetite. And I think everyone experiences depression differently. I think there's no real one way to define the experience. You know, it could be short term, it could be long term, it could be something that, you know, someone's been struggling with all their lives. So thinking about it from that standpoint, everybody has a story, and there's factors behind who we are as people and why we behave the certain ways, why we have the trajectory that we do in our lives. And you know, some people are not as fortunate as others. They go through a lot of traumatic experiences early on in their lives, which unfortunately can lead to depression as well, can lead to a lot of self-doubt, feelings of emptiness, anger. And, you know, what's important is really recognizing what the cause is behind it and what the root cause is behind these suppressed emotions that we have and why we feel the way that we do. Why we think the way that we do.
You know, the thing I should have mentioned, you guys, is the reason behind why Feeha talks so confidently about this is because she's honestly, not only has she gone through it, she's literally gone to school to freaking experience this type of shit on a daily basis.
The undergrad definitely helped.
Yeah, so
for sure.
Do you want to explain what you used to do?
Yeah, so I did my bachelor's in health sciences at the University of Calgary. I graduated about a year ago. I worked on various projects, like interdisciplinary projects revolving around mental health. Not really mental health. It was primarily like what my honors thesis was about was cognitive functioning and silent brain infarctions. So, you know, for me, mental health has been more of like a self-discovery kind of a thing. You know, it's not something that you really learn about in school. It's not something that you really have to experience it and to really gauge an insight on why you operate the way you do. You know, I think so many of us as people, we're not aware of a lot of the implicit emotions or thoughts that we have. And not only that, but I think there's a lot of underlying factors towards why we cope the way we do, who we interact with. That's all shaped not only by experiences in the past, but, you know, traumatic experiences, or it just could be a multitude of factors. And I think for me, self-awareness is key. You know, really, I think that's what really differentiates someone on the path of growth is being able to be self-aware enough to know, you know, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, you know, what are my insecurities, why do I feel this way, And once you're able to identify those factors, you're able to consciously assert control on implementing change towards that, because it's so different. Like, for example, like your experience is so different from mine. Somebody else's experience is, it's a wide array of things. And I think that's why you can't really localize it. Everyone goes through different experiences.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's so different from one another. And that's why I came out with Project Eunoia, honestly, is because everyone has a story and everyone can finally really say their truth, because we're all really hiding behind this side that we tend to hide all the time. There's such a huge stigma behind depression and anxiety, right? And let's say you aren't going through that. There's so many people in the world that don't know what depression and anxiety are, you know, especially with the older generation. Let's say people our age who are finally, I feel like I've been experiencing depression my whole life, but to be honest, anxiety really came later on. And when you really talk about anxiety, no one really knows what that is. People just be like, oh, you just worry too much about stuff. I remember in a past episode I mentioned that a friend of mine asked me if I've ever gone through anxiety or had anxiety at all. I was like, no, I don't know. I don't know what that is. You know, I don't worry about stuff I don't need to worry about. And people would ask me like, oh, what are you thinking about? When I would just like stare off in the distance and not say anything. I would actually not really think of anything, because to be honest, I was really fighting the feeling of my emotions and the way that I was feeling on the inside physically. You know, my mind was too focused on my own body to really think about what my thoughts were taking me, you know. Wow. At that point, it was like my depression was really overtaking my anxiety. And that's why I really didn't think I had anxiety throughout my whole entire life. And that's why, like, recently I got my very first panic attack, you know, and that was at work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they called the ambulance. I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this.
No, you never did.
Oh,
wow.
Here we go. You got a story right here.
Panic attacks are real.
Panic attacks are insane, because the thing is, I know the feeling of death and it's just blackness, right? And it's not a luxury. And people just look at it and be like, oh, I'm going to die and I'm going to wake up a new person. Maybe you will. There's like endless possibilities in the universe. Who knows? But the thing is, when you do experience it firsthand, like all you see is blackness and you don't really remember much. That's what anxiety or a panic attack was to me. You know, the first time it's like you really lose control of your body. Your hands are numb, you're shaking, and then your legs go numb and they're shaking, and you can't help yourself to stand at all. You can't really do anything, and you really think you see a white light. Like, really? Yeah, it's crazy, because my second time was here at home with Ella and Cyril, and I literally think I saw, it wasn't a white light like, oh my gosh, come here, you know. It wasn't like that. It was like at any moment, at any given time, I was just staring straight ahead of me, and I was like, oh my God. I was praying, and I was just like holding Cyril's hand the whole time, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna die. That's it. You know, because your heart is beating so fast, you can't control yourself. You don't know if this is it. Like,
yeah,
I was like, this is how I'm gonna die, because I'm gonna have a heart attack right now.
That's crazy.
Exactly. And it was insane. Those were my 2 times, and you would think like you would know what anxiety was, but like I really didn't know until the past year, believe it or not. And people can experience things on a slower rate than others. I don't know when did you have your first, or have you had one at all?
I think for me, like, when I think about anxiety, I think about how my brain is always like in overdrive. Like, I can't stop thinking about everything, and I think a lot of overthinking and constant worry has a lot to do with anxiety as well. Like, for me, not only is it making sure that everything's clean and on point, like with my OCD, but it's also all these thoughts going through your mind. And I felt that people who do suffer with that and who can't really chill, I've been told a lot of times that you just need to chill, like you just need to relax, calm down.
I think that's one of the main things that really differed from each other.
Yeah.
When we first became friends, is I was the more calm, just like too chill. I needed to not chill. Okay.
Yeah.
And she was like too crazy to chill, know? And I think that's what brought us together, because we evened each other out. And I feel like that allowed me to really Feeha was one of the biggest influences for myself.
You definitely taught me how to take a step back, really appreciate the finer things in life, and not always constantly worry and stress about things that aren't in your control. I learned how to take a step back from you, and you learned how to take a step forward from me. And I think that's so necessary, because we're constantly caught up in our own little bubbles and what's going around us, is that we miss the big picture, which is that all of this is temporary at the end of the day. So why are we worrying? The thing with anxiety is it increases your heart rate as well. Like, it's very common as well with people who take ADHD medication, because the amphetamines and the medication just kind of amps up that anxiety. And it's difficult at times to really switch your mind off. It can sometimes even lead to like a perfectionist outlook on life. Like, everything needs to be done perfectly. Everything needs to be in order. And I think that's very detrimental to your mental health, because at the end of the day, life isn't about that. Life is about taking a step back, not letting little things wither away at your mental health. And it's just so important to really relax and meditate and find your inner peace. I feel like a lot of people that have that constant anxiety, that constant struggle, that am I good enough? Am I a good partner? Am I a good wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend? Am I a good sister? Am I a good daughter? Am I a good mother? Am I a good friend? Am I a good employee? We're always constantly worried about what other people think about us. Am I adequate enough? Am I doing enough in my life? Will I be successful? Will this work out? And we're so caught up with all these what ifs, and the current uncertainty around the world with COVID-19 doesn't make things any better, So I think a lot of that also has to relate with your inner sense of self and your peace, your inner peace. Because if you don't have that, you're going to worry about everything, and you're just going to destroy away your physical and mental health. And it's sad, because we live in a world where it's such a silent yet just recurrent problem. Everyone has it.
It's silent but deadly, and that's what mental health is. Because it's something you can't control, and it's something you don't know when it's going to come to you. It literally destroys your well-being. It causes heart problems 100%. And that's why when I have a panic attack, it feels like I'm going to have a heart attack, because it truly is almost like getting a heart attack. It really has a bad sense of trigger in your body. And that's really what we need to talk about, because it's normal. Okay, we can't allow our basic human instinct all the time to think that, oh, everything is good, And that just makes you worry too much. That allows you to think that you can have good things all at once. It allows you to think that nothing bad's gonna happen. And it just makes you wish for, hey, I just want to like live a happy life. Have you ever said that before? I just want to live a happy life.
Yeah.
Do you ever believe that?
100%. When I was younger, it was more of, I want to get this, I want to get that, I want to reach this milestone in my life.
Yeah.
I want to accomplish this, and then happiness will come along the way. But the older I get, the more I realize that happiness does not have any label on it. It should be something that should be constantly present in your life. It's not something that you should put on the back burner to achieve a certain milestone or a goal, because then why are you doing it in the first place? You know? And it's hard because, it's easy to say that, find your happiness, but it's a lifelong struggle for a lot of people, especially people struggling with so many deep-seated issues. How they perceive themselves, your insecurities, just childhood trauma, and all these factors have a play, and they really do shape us into who we are. And I think that's a lot of times people with anxiety, nobody asks to have anxiety. Not a single person. Nobody
100%.
asks.
I didn't even know what it was, and it just came to me. I was like, "What's up, bro?"
Nobody
and
asks.
I'm like, "Hey."
It creeps into your life, and it's a constant battle to suppress it, or just kind of, it'll momentarily, you might be feeling better, and then you might relapse. You might have a day where everything is not working or going according to how you planned it to be, and a small trigger is going to initiate, an episode. And it's important to understand that, because a lot of times it comes out of nowhere and people can't perceive why this is happening. But it is a constant work in progress. I do believe that there's people all their lives that still haven't figured out how to be happy. I think happiness comes from being at peace with what you have in your life.
Exactly. It all really starts with who you are and what you bring to the world. I think your purpose has a lot to do with it, because you can't just wish for happiness. You have to really work for it. And I think that's what a lot of people don't want to do, is work for it. I know so many people around me that just are so consumed in their depression and their anxiety, and they think they're stuck. They feel like they're doomed. They have no answers, nowhere to go. And I feel like it really, really has to do a lot to do with taking care of yourself, as you said. Going to the gym is an obvious answer, but it really, really does help. I remember when I was going to the gym all the time and I felt so good. I felt so strong. The gym was an amazing thing until COVID happened. But anyone would agree that now we're starting to appreciate the gym more. We're starting to really appreciate how we got to go outside without our masks on and really just live that life. But now we are in a world where it's changed. We have to be in a society where we have to actually start looking after ourselves. Fuck all that extra shit. It's not all about that. It's not all about how you look anymore. It's all about your health, and everyone's talking about your mental health, and mental health is a huge thing now. But it's not just about, do good things, have positive vibes. It's not all about that. It's not all about have good vibes. I see it so many times on Instagram where it's like, fuck your positive vibes, There's so many things happening out there that are way worse than how you feel. Hey, absolutely. Fuck me, what am I supposed to say about what's happening out there, But the thing is, if you're not here, how are you going to fix what's out there?
I think focusing on the negatives is
It really hurts you internally.
Yeah, it's the type of reinforcement people need to continue to consume themselves in the same negative patterns of behavior, unhealthy patterns of behavior. You know, it really makes a difference to clean up your surroundings, organize your tasks. It's baby steps. It starts with baby steps, because especially when your mind is so cluttered and when you're going through depression and you're going through anxiety, it's not easy to just, you know, flick your fingers and just snap your fingers and everything's just all gone, vanished. It's a constant and continual process, and it has to take place somewhere. And I think the hardest part of it is to really recognize that if I continue to allow my thoughts to consume me the way they are, I'm never going to progress from this situation. And I think it's that self-responsibility that one needs to take, and that awareness that one needs to really grasp, to understand that change is inevitable and it needs to take place for growth to occur. You know, and that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people right now, they feel like they're stuck. They feel like they don't have anything going on for them. And it's completely normal to feel like you're underaccomplished. It's completely normal to want to be in a relationship with someone, or want to feel loved, or want or crave affection. And, you know, these are things that affect us on a daily basis, you know. So, and with COVID and everything going on, you know, with all the social distancing, that doesn't help with everything as well. Because I think in a way, COVID has allowed people to really take a step back and realize that, you know, there's more to the world than, you know, the chaotic routine that we go through every day. There's more to life than that. You know, your loved ones, your family members, people that you care about, the progress and the value that you put into your work. All of these little successes are worth celebrating as well. You know, there's so many people struggling with anxiety and depression, you know, because of the situation that we're in right now. You know, as humans, we are not built to not be around human interaction. You know, we crave that.
Yeah. And even if you say you don't, you really do.
Yeah.
The thing is, loneliness is the number one killer.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, like, even though you love being all by yourself all the time and locking yourself in your room, I know, like, people need human interaction. And Feeha's right. It's a human instinct to need that.
Humans are social creatures. At the end of the day, we crave human interaction. We crave emotion, especially women. We crave like, we could talk about, you know, differences between how men and women process their feelings for later, but, you know, that's evident as well within friendships, you know, specific bonds that you have with the people in your life. That all adds value to who you are as a person. There's so many challenges that, as, you know, a nation, we've been experiencing. And it's a huge shift in what our societal norm used to be.
Yeah.
And with that comes challenges. But yeah, a lot of people at this point, you know, working from home, they feel less motivated. There's a lot of uncertainty in the air, which causes heightened anxiety. And what's going to happen with work? Am I going to finish my degree? Am I going to be able to retain my job here? Like, what am I going to be able to pay the bills? Am I going to be able to see my family? You know, there's constant issues that people are going through.
This is really, really the time to be grateful about what you have in life.
For sure.
Because, you know, honestly, we don't really think about it, but so many people are, they're losing their homes, they're losing their jobs, they're losing a lot of things. And the people who are still out here, you know, you still get to live in your home, come home to a warm bed, you know, you still have your cell phone, you're still connecting with your friends, having a good time, laughing. That's huge. And that's a luxury to a lot of people right now.
I agree.
That we don't really understand.
I do.
And when we talk about like how COVID kind of literally came, and I feel like it truly made a lot of people realize that life is so short. Because I feel like so many people in my life, especially people that I've been in relationships with, they've taught me so much. The fact that I was so exposed to a lot of these people and have friends like Feeha and Ella and Dia and Cyril, everybody that I have in my life, they're all so unique and they're so special, and you learn so much from them. When you allow that negativity, let's say you do break up with that one person and you're just like on that topic constantly, you allow it to dig deep and you're just constantly thinking about it always. Oh my gosh, is he gonna text me? Is he gonna do this? When in reality, everyone lives their own life and everyone's going through some shit. You know, and the one thing that we can do is kind of learn from each other, be there for one another, not allow negative thoughts to consume us, and just, you know, put an idea in our heads, create a problem for ourselves. Because the thing is, I said this before, we're always trying to create problems for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, there's never a time when we're not. But we have to understand that problems are never going to stop happening. And that once we understand that, we can allow the problems that are going to still come to come. And we're not going to allow the ones that we created in our minds to consume us. Because the thing is, as long as we understand that it's going to go, you're good. You know, there's no reason to cause bad relationships between people. But there's good in everybody. And I think that everybody that we've met in life has something about them that really makes them who they are today.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the way how I see it is the person, you know, regardless of how relationships end, or if it wasn't up to your expectations, or if friendships end, at one point in your life, that person was very significant to you. And they could have helped you overcome a lot of things at that time. And a lot of times we resort to anger and hate because it could be a maturity issue, you know, but I think primarily it's more about pain and anger. And, you know, those are just stages to it. I feel like at the end of the day, when it's all over and you look back at it, you should have nothing but good things to say.
100%.
Because why would you do that person dirty like that? You know, they were a significant part of your life once, and they mattered to you. And, you know, that respect should always be there. And it's so sad that nowadays, you know, there are people that do adopt this, but then there's the other side, you know, the ugly side, the defamation side, going on social media and, you know, causing drama and just lies and rumors. And, you know, what is the true point behind all of that? Because there really isn't. At the end of the day, you have to come to terms with things, especially if you weren't expecting them in your life. Things are not always going to work out the way you want them to. There will be circumstances that will deviate from your expectations. And that, how you deal with that, really shows who you are as a person.
Yes. And that's why it kind of goes full circle of how you really deal with the relationships around you, because I feel like that really brings you into considering your mindfulness. And when they say who the happiest people in the world are, it's the people that usually say, I'm just happy because my family is happy with me. And it's mostly the relationships around them that really, really push them into feeling that, you know, serotonin, is that what it's called? I don't know. But that's kind of just that feeling that comes, obviously, but the thing is, there's still bad things that are going to happen, but it's that support that you have in the end that you can fall back on, and you can allow yourself to be like, hey, one time, I'm going to tell you guys a thing. And one time me and Feeha didn't talk for a long time.
Yeah.
But this happens to me a lot because me personally, I should say, is because once I meet someone who is very, very dedicated to helping me really change my life and be there for me, once they're too much in my space, I really try to push them away. And that's what I did to Feeha. And we didn't talk for months. I don't know how long it was been. Do you remember?
It was half a year, maybe a couple months.
Yeah. The thing is, that did not stop us from coming back and being like, I still need you. You know, you were that huge support for me, and the things that we've been through together, the things that we've done together matters so much more than just a petty fight. You know, things that we can use to grow and things that we can kind of take back and learn from is really what matters the most. Because if you can allow yourself to really have that conversation and really understand what's going on, all that depression, all that anxiety, it's going to help. You're not going to be thinking too much about, hey, does that person like me? Or am I being a good person, or anything like that we talked about in the beginning. As Feeha mentioned, it all really comes full circle because you're going to stop worrying so much about what other people think of you, and you're going to start realizing that, you know, we're all human, we're all trying, you know, there's no such thing as someone who's not trying in this world. We're all human beings, and it's a basic instinct. It's our animal instinct, I should say, to really try to protect ourselves. And we have to start doing that again, because there's a huge stigma behind looking after ourselves, you know, and that's what really causes that depression and that anxiety to really seep through. I feel like maybe a lot of you will relate to this, and honestly, I'm not saying that I have a perfect life and I have perfect relationships around me.
No, not at all.
Yeah, honestly, I fight with people constantly. People call me the Hulk, you guys. Like, that's my freaking nickname. Anyways, so it's not a bad thing, but sometimes there's ways to kind of control yourself and ways to step back and be like, okay, what are better ways to really deal with this? Because when you're all up in your head, when you have so much anxiety, and when you have constant thoughts about things that are really going to trigger you in some way, that's when it really takes a toll on you and your health, everything. You're going to start, I don't know, maybe gaining weight, maybe losing too much weight. That affects your health a lot. Your mentality. I know when I started getting like really bad anxiety, I started losing my memory a lot. And
I remember that,
and I used to be a person that remembered so many things. I never lost anything ever. My whole life, I never lost anything. I think my older sister lost more things than me, and I would just always be the one that held on to things, you know. And then when my anxiety started coming through, I didn't really know it was anxiety because I didn't know what that was. Like, I knew what that word was. I didn't know what it meant. You know, I didn't know what it felt like, and I didn't know what kind of toll it would take on my body. But I started losing my memory, and the first thing I said to my roommate, to Ella, and to Feeha, I was like, you need to start reminding me about things, because I'm starting to forget, like, appointments. You know, just regular things that I would 100% remember. And then it started getting worse. And I would start forgetting about something that happened to me the day before. And people would be like, we just had a conversation about this. And I'd be like, oh, I don't remember. It's not a good look. You know, obviously I'm freaking 25. I'm turning 26 this year. Like, I started forgetting so many things that even 5 minutes ago, I was like a goldfish. You know, and I was like, holy shit, am I getting Alzheimer's?
I remember.
Holy shit. I'm like, what? I'm not like 100 years old yet. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I was going crazy. I did not know what to do. And in the end, I later found out it was anxiety because of my panic attacks. I was like, bro, I need to like chill. I need to go on meds. And the thing is, I think Feeha really knows about this. Meds are such a thing in mental health. Like, that's the number one thing they push you to is taking medication. And when I took medication for my depression, I didn't think it did anything, to be honest. Antidepressants were like bullshit to me. And I was a huge firm believer that therapy doesn't work, you know, and talking to people doesn't work. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, fuck people. Nobody wants to listen to me. No one wants to, you know, I'm just here all alone, even though I had Feeha. Like, I was just fucked. But the thing is, I had to take these meds. You know,
I remember that phase of yours. That was a tough phase.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Like now, because I have to deal with the anxiety. I don't know if any of you guys have experienced. When I did, I was like, bro, I need to start doing something about it. And I went to the doctor and he gave me like these crazy pills. And it felt like I was on Molly.
The antidepressants?
It was, yeah, I guess so. It's supposed to take care of your anxiety. It felt like I was having a panic attack, but I was chilling. You know, I was just chilling.
That's quite the contrast.
I don't know, you guys. If you go to the doctor and you're really experiencing this, there is this medication that they might give you. And to be honest, it might not be for everybody. And this is... I Googled it because the first night I took it and I had a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the only nice thing about that nightmare was my room was floating in space.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was awesome. But other than that, the rest of the nightmare, I'll just kind of tell you is usually when I go to bed, I don't lock my room door. Oh my gosh, someone's going to come and murder me now. I'm gonna start locking my door. But before I used to never lock my bedroom door. And Ella, Cyril, everyone I know locks their door. And every time
that's so strange. I never lock my door.
You never lock? Oh.
No.
They told me it's like a only child thing maybe. Yeah, it definitely is because you have 2 siblings. I have 2 siblings.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
That's absurd. Locking your room?
Exactly. So she would always lock her room. I know. And being the nosy person I was, I would always try to go into her room, but she would always lock it. And she was in there. It's not like she's not in there.
But it's just locked.
It's just locked. And that came into my nightmare because when I used to have the anxiety attacks or the panic attacks, I used to use Ella to kind of calm down. And I would force her to like help me clear my mind, do something to distract me, anything. I would hold her hand, do anything. I couldn't even sleep at night without, yeah.
I didn't know this.
I had to sleep with Ella for so the first night I couldn't sleep. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I went and slept with Ella.
When was this?
This was actually this year.
Couple months ago?
Yeah. This was probably February, I would say. Literally last month.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. So
that's why I don't know about this.
We're going real deep, you guys.
Yeah.
So I could not sleep that first night. And then I was like, okay, second night, I think, let's see how it goes. Second night, I tried to, but I couldn't. My heart was beating too fast, and I needed to sleep with Ella. So I tried to go to Ella's room. Her door was locked. I was kind of freaking out, and I was like knocking and I couldn't open it. And yeah, that was one of my things. And during the third night, I was like, okay, this can't happen again. So I went straight to the doctor. I'm like, this is an emergency because I'm scared to go to bed at night. You know, I'm scared because for the first time ever, I want to I want to live, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Exactly. Especially with everything that I've been through. Like, this was huge for me. Like, I do not want to die. And so I was like, I can't go to bed. And I'm scared. What if I die in my sleep? And this is not good. So, yeah, he gave me pills. And the first night I had this nightmare. And I kind of opened my eyes, and outside it was like space.
Wow.
It was amazing. It was so vivid, you know? And I just roll over, facing my bedroom door, and there was a man, and he's just slowly walking towards me. And I freak out, and I'm like, I can't do anything other than turn to the other side towards my bedroom window where space is. Maybe that'll calm me down. I turn around towards space, and there's two people staring back at me.
Oh my God, that's so terrifying.
It was insane, and I freak out. I turn back around, and that guy is walking towards me. I turn back around. They're staring back at me. I turn around again. The guy's gone. So I take this as my chance to go to Ella. My door was locked.
Oh, wow.
I could not unlock my door. It was so hard to unlock, like I couldn't. And then after struggling for some time, it finally unlocked. And as soon as I went across, Ella's room is right across from mine. Right there. It was not even locked. I went straight in, and her body's just sitting up in the bed, and she's staring out her window. She's not looking at me at all. And I'm just yelling her name. I can't go into her room. And I'm just like crying, and she would not look at me, and I needed her. And so all I could do was like sit at her door and just rock back and forth and stare at her back.
Wow.
Because like, what more can I do? Because there's 3 people in my room.
That's terrifying.
And I swear there was something coming down the hallway, you know.
That's terrifying.
And then I woke up. So I Googled that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is fucked up. And a lot of the reviews said that they had nightmares the first time.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you should really look at some of the side effects of the medication you're taking, because it's very common to experience like nightmares, like very vivid nightmares, terror attacks from antidepressants. I'm not sure about the medication you're taking, but definitely. And like the fact that it was as like vivid and scary as you're saying it was is a huge thing, you know. Like, you should maybe stop taking it.
Oh yeah, I don't take it anymore. Obviously that was a while ago, but last month. But the thing is I had to take it for 2 weeks, and it felt like I was on drugs. I was on Molly. And when they see that you have depression and anxiety to that level where you're scared to sleep at night, that's what they're going to do. They're going to give you the next best thing. And I was like, is there any lower dose than this? Because this is crazy.
It's pretty strong. It's not what this is not what I need. Yeah.
Exactly. And he's like, that's the lowest dose I can give you.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. So I started obviously looking into more natural ways of taking care of my anxiety, like obviously meditation. And I started taking natural medicine, and I feel like it is really helping. There has been panic attacks here and there, but to be honest, I just feel like a better person. And I feel like the medication that they kind of give you in the hospitals or outside of the hospital, that's fine, but really look into it, because hey, you are going through all of that, and your anxiety is really affecting you as a person. So don't allow these drugs to affect you even more, because honestly, one of the reasons that the doctor said to me, he's like, you know, this drug is supposed to rewire you. And you're supposed to take it for 6 months. And that's how you completely change or rewire your whole brain into really getting manipulated into thinking you're not going through a panic attack when you are. Because that's really what I felt like during those 2 weeks. And I was like a powerhouse. You know, I was always on drive. I was always like happy, and it was insane. Like, you guys, anxiety is fucking crazy. And being somebody who never thought that they had anxiety ever, I would really take it more seriously.
It's crazy because people become dependent to this kind of medication.
Yes, when I Googled it, there were so many people that are like, oh my gosh, you're going to get addicted to this.
Yeah.
I thank God I'm not the type of person that gets addicted to things. I get sick and tired of things easily, which is still bad. But I think when we worked together, during the first year of working together, I committed suicide.
Yeah.
And they admitted me to the hospital, and she was like the first person I think I called, and she wrote me like a whole list of everyone's phone numbers and stuff. And that depression and anxiety, like, honestly, I'm not even going to talk about the anxiety during that time, because my depression just like took a toll during that time. And the fact, like, Feeha, one of the people that really experienced it firsthand, really helped me get through all of that. And till now, I just really, in my opinion, I always just wish and hope that I do the same for you.
Absolutely. That's what friends are for, you know. That friends are the family that you choose. And that's the thing. You were operating completely fine. Nobody would even think that you were, you know, having those thoughts. But that's what I mean is, you know, it's something that's very deeply entrenched. And when you do go home, or when you are alone, or when you're not at work, or when you're not constantly around people, that's when the negativity, you know, it's like a tsunami of it all at once. And you get all of these thoughts, and the nightmares are, you know, I, for one, also am terrified of the dark. I don't know why.
Me too.
But I just have, I have this crazy fear of the dark. So I always need some kind of nightlight or something.
Do you know why that is? I know why.
Why?
It's literally the fear of unknowing.
Because, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, the fear, that's what I'm so scared of it, because it's that literal fear of not knowing what's going to happen. And I used to be so scared of space and looking at space pictures, because I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. I don't know, this is never ending. But then I started like learning more about space, and I was like, there's way more to it. But the thing is, like, I'm still kind of a pussy. I still I can't look at Google Earth pictures of the Earth on the oceans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's terrifying to me. And the mountains, oh my God.
The ocean is terrifying to me. Like, when being on a cruise and like watching 2012 and all of that, like, it's just so terrifying. Like, the fear of the depth of it, like the magnitude of it, like, you're so insignificant. It's crazy. Yeah, definitely, like, space, the darkness, and the ocean. The ocean is
I know. I literally same thing. And that's the fear of not knowing things.
That's crazy.
And that's literally our ego. And that's why I love Project Unoya so much, and why it means so much to me, because every topic that we talk about is all comes into one. And that's why when I say it's your ego, it's because we feel like we need to know everything. We feel like we have that sense of responsibility to know the answer to everything, you know? And we don't. We need to question our surroundings. There's still things to learn. It's not like Elon Musk knows the answer to life. Obviously, maybe he's probably a genius, but he still doesn't know every single thing. And everyone, even Einstein, anyone who is a super genius in one thing, they still have something that they can learn in a different topic. You know, who's to say that, I don't know, Bill Gates is going to start opening a nail salon, like, and start doing his nails.
Yeah.
You know, that's something maybe he's not too interested in, how you get acrylics or gel, but he's a genius in everything else. And there's so many areas where we can kind of learn and explore and touch base with, especially with ourselves, because there's so much to learn about ourselves. It's so healthy to really question who we are as human beings, because it's a never-ending cycle of self-rediscovery. You know, you're always still learning about yourself. There's always things you can implant into your life and just, you know, allow that to get you to grow and learn more about yourself, because there's so much about stuff in this world, and we need to stop being so scared about stupid things, even though they're terrifying, like the dark. Oh my God, I'm so scared.
I think uncertain situations also, you know, people who really crave security and safety in their lives, when you're put into a situation like that, you know, like for example, just inept darkness, you know, I think it brings out a lot of deep-seated fear of not being secure, not being safe. And, you know, that can stem from childhood trauma, that can stem from a traumatic incident in your life that's taken place, or just an irrational fear of the dark. Because it's so interesting to see, because everybody has, you can tell a lot by someone's phobias, you know, like for instance, what their true fears are. Everybody has them, and like when you start asking the right questions and you start to get to know that person and why they have that irrational fear, you get to you gauge, you know, a deeper sense of where this came from and why they are the way they are. And I think that's where the empathy comes, and that's where it's so important to know that we're all human and we're all going through so many different things, and you know, we're susceptible and we are imperfect, and we need to give each other room for error.
100%. Especially with the last thing you said, allowing each other space or room for error, that's 100% what we need to start doing, because I feel like right now in our generation, we feel like the need of everything needs to be perfect, you know, and we have that expectation from everyone else that we have to do perfect things. And that's where looking beautiful comes in, and caring too much about the way you speak or the way you do things. It all stems from one place, obviously, but the thing is it's not all about that. You know, there's so much more to life. There's so much more to how we look, or how it's what we do for the world. And as I said before, the purpose in life that we have is what's gonna bring you that happiness you so desire, you know, that happiness that'll just come to you for a little bit, but at least it'll bring you some sort of excitement and happiness. But it's not all about needing to know about everything. It's not all about being perfect, because that simple thing that just came out of nowhere and hit you and you didn't even know it was coming, sometimes those turn out to be amazing things.
Sometimes they're blessings in disguise.
100%. You know? I always say that. Like when we were in Dia's episode, if I wasn't in that crazy hospital, I would have never met her, right? So I always used to look back and really blame a lot of people for me being there, believe it or not. But the thing is, it wasn't all about blaming the people who really truly thought I needed it, because I really did. There was no way going around it. I feel like if I didn't go, obviously I wouldn't have met Dia, but at the same time, life would have led me to so many different paths. And at the end of the day, I probably would have been in a place that's really bad right now. So there's so many things to take into consideration, especially regarding like the people that you have around you, and just being grateful for all the small things. Think about what you say before you say it.
Yeah.
You know, say good things, say meaningful things. There's always a time and place to say things, but mean what you say. Have intention in everything, because if you're just going to babble on, what's the meaning behind the message you're trying to send across?
There's no meaning.
Exactly.
It's just noise.
And that's what I always see every single day, is people just like talking shit about other people, wasting their time, like being trolls on the internet. I don't have TikTok on my phone. Do you have TikTok?
No.
Okay, see, that's the number one thing I will never download on my phone, because I know once I download it, I'm going to be just like everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be scrolling through.
I downloaded it out of pure curiosity to see what the hype was.
To be honest, same.
Honestly, I could not for the life of me navigate that app, and I was just getting irritated by all the videos, and just, you know, just yeah, it's definitely not for our generation.
Yeah, no, I feel like there's so much better ways to kind of spend your day and release that, you know, pent up energy that you had from your day, and you just want to like come home and do your thing. But if TikTok's all you're going to be doing when you come home and be scrolling, like, really, what are you doing? You know, there's a song that I always like listen to, and there's a saying in it, and he's like, if I was not doing anything with my life, I would still be working at the fucking mall. Basically, like that. I still work at the fucking mall, you guys. Okay, I'm not there yet, but I'm doing something with my life. There's one life that you get to live. So it's either you just sit around, lock yourself in your room, scroll on TikTok, and, you know, do those things that are just gonna kind of get you to wither away into nothingness. I think there's better ways to spend your time.
Yeah, you know, you only get 24 hours in a day. It's not like we utilize all 24. You know, even allocating an hour or two a day towards some task or activity which is productive, or which promotes and, you know, increases your well-being and your mental health, that is so important. And, you know, I'm a culprit for it too. Like, ever since COVID hit, you know, it's difficult to stay in shape. It's difficult to go to the gym. It's difficult to take time out of the day for yourself, because you're just at home and everything's very stagnant. Your routine is very stagnant. You know, you're doing your master's at home. Like, for me, I'm doing my master's at home. Like, everything's at home. So, you know, like, it's just, it kind of makes you detach from reality in a sense, because you're just isolated, you know? And in that isolation, you lose a lot of motivation, and it's very difficult to kind of pull yourself out of that and remind yourself of the goal, remind yourself of your vision, what you want to do, why you're here to begin with. And because it's easy to slip, you know, it's easy to, you know, people with anxiety are also very highly self-critical. Highly self-critical. We are our worst critics. Like, if somebody could be hard on us, it's us. Yeah. You know, and I think that is also very detrimental, because you should be allowing yourself to thrive, and again, giving yourself that room for error, that room for imperfection. And you know, nowadays with societal standards of, you know, you're just expected to always outperform, outdo the competition, and at the same time maintain proper mental health, have a proper social life, have an active lifestyle. And from a realistic standpoint, that's just not, you know,
realistic,
feasible. Yeah. And that's okay, because we're human, and you know, one step at a time. And as long as you're moving towards change and you're actively trying to be a better version of yourself every day, that is what you should truly be in competition with, is your own self-improvement. And I think that's why this episode is so essential and necessary, is because, hey, there's so many people like me and you out there who are in the exact same boat. And I hope after listening, you know, to some of the topics that we've touched on today, they can really, you know, gauge interest and relate to us to that extent.
100%. I agree. And it doesn't mean that you guys have to wake up in the morning feeling happy and that you need to do something with your day. You don't have to. As long as the first thing I always kind of tell myself is just kind of try to smile. Smiling uses the least amount of muscles in your face.
Yeah.
So smile, and just, I have affirmations on my phone that I've downloaded, which kind of remind me how amazing I am, because I'm amazing. And
you are.
Oh, thank you. You are perfect, and you're a goddess. But sometimes you need those, and to help you build yourself up, and it really does remind you how important you are. And it really starts with the small things. You know, your life isn't going to end horribly if you don't want it to end horribly. It all matters about what you think and how your mind works, and it just starts with you. So just love yourself a little bit better. It's hard, and it's easier said than done, especially coming from literal people who have gone through self-hatred so many times. It's difficult, but you got this. Just say one nice thing to yourself. I saw this one thing, and it's, maybe you guys should take this back with you. Never say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to your best friend.
100%. At the end of the day, you only got yourself, you know, and it's a long journey. And if you're at war with yourself, it's going to be a terrible experience. It's going to be a very challenging experience, because it's going to be a constant tug of war.
Yeah.
And you just have to remind yourself that, you know, it's you at the end of the day that matter, and then everyone else, and then everything else in life. And once you're able to create that boundary, things start to get better.
Yeah, it's selfish, but it's true. You need to be a little selfish with yourself sometimes. Indulge in yourself. Imagine you're like a piece of chocolate. I don't know if you like chocolate.
I love chocolate.
Oh, there you go.
Dark chocolate's my favorite.
Oh, fuck that. I'm just going to imagine some other chocolate. So
the darker, the better.
Exactly. So imagine you're dark chocolate. All right. And you're just delicious. You just melt in your own mouth.
Yeah.
That's how delicious you are. Okay. Yeah. Don't think about anyone else. You know, everyone else is like, let's say, what do you mix with chocolate? Give me something. I mix everything with chocolate.
Yeah. I was like, what should I say?
You know what? Let's just say everyone else is everything else.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're the chocolate. Everyone is wanting you. Okay. So be grateful that you're the chocolate and that you're not fucking avocados. I hate avocados. I'm going to use that. Screw you guys and avocados. But you're just a fine-ass chocolate.
Yeah.
And, you know, love yourself.
The chocolate's a metaphor, guys.
Yeah, exactly. You got this.
But, yeah, it relates a lot to your self-love. And, you know, self-love is a very difficult concept because it can be rooted due to so many different factors. You know, it could be childhood trauma, you had a negligent parent, and that's why, you know, you have these anxious attachment patterns with your partners. Yeah. It could be anything, you know.
But that's just like literally your ego talking, you guys. So don't allow that to really consume you. Yeah. Don't allow your ego to think that you're God and everybody else is a peasant. Okay, see yourself as you're grounded on earth with everybody else. We're all the same. We all mold each other. We all build each other up. And no one's better than anybody else. maybe Oprah. But honestly, we're all the same. We're all human. And just love yourself a little bit better.
Yeah.
You got this. I believe in you. Feeha believes in you.
I believe in you.
We believe in ourselves. I believe in Feeha.
I believe in you.
Right? So,
you know, that's all you need. It's the people you keep in your life that matter the most.
yeah, exactly. So, thank you guys so much for listening today. This was such an important topic to talk about because there's such a huge stigma behind it. And I feel like once we finally let that go and we kind of talk about it, we'll actually finally learn how to let go and be good with ourselves, you know? So thank you so much. I love you, Feeha, for
Thank you
coming
for
out
having
here.
me here. This has been a true honor, to be honest. I'm so proud of your trajectory and everything you're doing with this project, to be honest. So keep at it because, you know, it's so essential to spread this kind of a message, even if it is just as an informal conversation the way we're having. You know, I think it's in today's day and age, the more, you know, awareness that you can spread around these topics, the better it is.
Exactly. 100%. I love you so much. I'm so honored.
I love you too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, you guys. I hope you're having an amazing day, whether you're just starting it or just ending it. I still hope it's amazing. Okay. Have an amazing, amazing, amazing day. I love you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.